Erin McCleskey is a 36-year-old certified process server for the state of Texas. She went to the city of Manor to serve court papers, a place she wasn't going to get alive from, sadly. This wasn't her first time there, as Erin has already been to the residence twice before. According to KVUE, she opened the front gate and entered the property of Donald and Terry Swanson. Terry says that this is where Erin made a critical error that had the most expensive cost ever, her life. The Swansons had been out of town for a month when they claimed that Erin trespassed on their property to serve civil papers. With no one home, Erin was attacked by 6 of the Swanson security dogs. An autopsy determined that the dogs actually severed a major artery in Erin's arm, which was the main reason for her death. She lived 10-15 minutes of abomination before she bled out to death. The medical examiner later determined that all 6 dogs participated in the atrocious attack that took Erin's life. During the Swansons' absence, a friend of theirs was charged of looking after their dogs and providing them with food and water. After Erin was bitten to death in their front yard, her body was found days later that day by the dog's caretaker. Animal protection officers were called, and 6 adult dogs involved in Erin's death were impounded, according to Fox 7. In addition to that, authorities also found 14 puppies living on the property, which were all eventually adopted, according to KVUE. The Swansons' neighbors had their say about the dogs too. According to them, the dogs were a serious threat to everyone around even before they savagely killed Erin. Gonzalo Grimaldo, who owns a parking lot right next to the Swansons' residency, said that the dogs have made escapes from the property previously and attacked other animals, including his own dogs just months before the attack that killed Erin. Even though Grimaldo said that he called 911 after the frightening attack, no one responded to his report. Teodoro Vences also claimed the dogs attacked his chickens, according to Fox 7. Another neighbor, Christi Sparks, said she has always feared for her children's safety because of the dogs. With roaming dogs being a problem since Sparks moved into the neighborhood, she categorically refused to let her kids play outside, always with the constant worry of having them attacked by the dogs. In spite of the residents' claims that the dogs were a nuisance and a real threat to the safety of not only other animals, but children too, Austin City spokeswoman Patricia Fraga said there's no record of any animal complaints involving the property or the animals. Shockingly enough, the dog's owner are not going to face charges in Erin's death, either, since they didn't set the dogs on her or command them to attack, according to Daily Mail. Her death would be ruled an accident, and the dogs that killed Erin would only be placed in the care of the city until the authorities can determine whether they were dangerous and should be euthanized or put back to the care of their owners, in case they were not proven to be dangerous. And this is where the case takes another very troubling and unexpected turn. After such atrocious incident, the judge ordered the dogs to be euthanized, but over a year after killing Erin McCleskey, 5 of the 6 dogs that bit her to death were still living, all well at the Austin Animal Center. The Swansons' attorney, Eric Torvesen, did everything in his power to save their lives. One of the dogs died, but it wasn't from euthanasia. According to reports, it contracted a fatal case of heartworms that caused it a cardiac arrest. Even though one was already gone, Torvesen was determined to keep the other 5 dogs alive. "I want the dogs to have due process in court," Torvesen said, believing the cause so much. He took it on for free. "It's very sad that a human being died. She chose to trespass on the property." In a home video of the dogs playing with staff at the center, you can see the dogs being fed treats and pet on the head, just like regular loving puppies, and not treated like animals that killed a human being in a matter of minutes. Torvesen wants the dogs returned to their owners, where they rightfully belong, according to him. An animal behavior specialist, however, believes that they should be put down for the greater good of everyone. James Crosby explained that you can't determine whether they will severely injure another person or what they could do. "Dogs are sentient beings, they make choices," he said. "In a case where people's lives and safety are involved, it's not safe to try to predict." Extremely worried about the dog's welfare, Torvesen said that being locked up all this time wasn't good for their well-being, and that it might have been the reason to their extreme reaction to an outsider trespassing their property. Claire Carter, a former prosecutor on numerous animal cruelty cases, agreed, but only in part. For something to have gone on for over a year and animals be forced to live that way is inhumane, she said, but quickly added that trying to save their lives through the lengthy appeals process was nothing but a huge waste of time. The state's duty and mission is to make sure that every member of the community is kept safe, which is why Carter ultimately believes that the dog should be put down. It's fairly ridiculous. They have bypassed the procedures in place to expedite this process so that animals didn't have to suffer unnecessarily, Carter said. And the 5 animals in question aren't the only ones paying the price for this blatant abuse of the court system. According to the City of Austin, it costs approximately $39.75 to care for one dog per day, KVUE reported, estimating that caring for the dogs had already cost taxpayers roughly $116,000, a figure that only kept going up every day until the trial day. This awful justice miscarriage was a big slap in the face of Erin McCleskey's family and loved ones. Not only did she die an awful death, she couldn't get the minimum justice for it. Not only that, but those figures could have seen a better use, as there are thousands of citizens who could have been cared for with them. When an animal kills a human, it's no longer safe to be someone's pet and should be put down with no second thoughts.